Hi, welcome to this remote presentation about our paper Crowdsourcing Content Creation for SQL Practice. I'm Juho Leinonen and my co-authors are Nea Pirttinen and Arto Hellas. So, crowdsourcing, if you haven't heard the term before, it refers to using a big crowd to generate something, and that could be, for example, what Wikipedia does, so generating encyclopedic knowledge or material. But in our case, we are using the crowd of students on an introductory database course to crowdsource SQL practice questions. And we have created a system or a program for this purpose. And you can access the system and try it out at the address visible on your screen now. So sql-t.herokuapp.com. You will need an account to our system, but that shouldn't take long to create. But you can try it out there if you would like to. Additionally, the system is fully open source and available on GitHub at the address that's visible now on your screen. So if you're interested, you can go and look at the source code and modify it or start using it on your own courses if you are interested. And the research aspect of this paper was related to the feedback students give to assignments that are in the system. So we had 6 different feedback questions that students answer when they complete an assignment in the system. And those feedback questions are related to the easiness, clarity, educational value, suitability. So is it suitable difficulty-wise? The students' confidence in their own solution and frustration that they might have felt when they were working on the exercise. And in the research aspect of this article, we study how these assignments are rated and are there differences between student and instructor generated assignments. But now let's have a look at the system and how it works. So this is the SQL trainer that students use, and they can click on this practice to start practicing SQL. And there are different topics that the instructor has generated, and the students can choose any one of them and click on start practice to start practicing. And then now we are completing our first assignment. So we can see the name of the topic that this assignment is part of, and then the exercise name and the handout and so on. And we can click here to look at the database that is related to this assignment. So we can see the database name and description, the tables within that database, so we can check the column names and what's in those tables. And we can even look at the schema and the SQL statements that create that database. And then we can also click here to see the expected output of our assignment, so what we should get after a correct query. So if we click here, we see this table that we are supposed to get when we complete the assignment. So let's first uh, have a query that's wrong. So let's say select everything from books. And this should now be wrong because we only want the titles. So okay, so we get the message that our submission was not correct and we get some automatic output that's meant to help us solve the problems in our assignment. So now we see that that there was the expectation that queries should only have one column, but we had four. So we now understand, oh, okay, we are only supposed to list the titles. And now we can edit our query. So let's say only select title from books. We can also see our previous attempts if we want to look at those. And now when we click submit, our assignment was correct. So we see now that, well, this is our solution and this was the output of that query. And we see the expected solution is the same in this time. And now we get to review the assignment. So we have the feedback questions here, the 6 feedback questions, and then we can answer those. So was the exercise too easy? Was it clear enough? Yes, I think so. Did we learn something? Maybe not that much. Difficulty of the exercise is suitable. I think my solution was good, well, obviously. And then working on the exercise was frustrating. No, it wasn't frustrating. And then we can decide to add the review, or we could also skip the reviewing part and just go to the next task immediately without reviewing. And then we get the following exercise and it's randomized from the same topic. But now we want to quit practicing and start creating. So this is the crowdsourcing part of the system. So we can select any one of the topics there and click on this create and go here to create a new exercise. So now we get this small guide to how to add an exercise here. So first we should select the database. So let's have, for example, this one. Then we can come up with an exercise name and the handout for that exercise and then a model solution. And after we are done, we can click on add and then that exercise gets added to the pool of exercises within that same topic. And after that, that assignment can be randomized to other students in the course. So they might get that assignment as one of the assignments they are completing. So now that you've seen how the system works, I'll answer to one of the research questions we had in the paper. So how do student-generated assignments compare to instructor-generated assignments when looking at the feedback students give to those assignments? Well, they are both rated quite highly, and the difference between them were mostly at most modest, and there were many non-significant differences also. So we believe that the student-generated assignments are good enough to give other students, and this is in line with previous work. And if you are more interested in reading about the research related to the tool that we have in the paper, in addition to the tool itself, I highly recommend you read the paper. Unfortunately, in 8 minutes, there's just not enough time to go over all the results we have in the paper. Thank you for watching this video and hope you have a nice day.